Hey everybody, welcome to this month's MDDA update and our first spotlight session for the month. So thank you for joining us. I can see a number of you tuned in. Yes, and I'd just like to spend a few minutes now giving a little bit of an update before we go into the content for tonight's spotlight on some of the great work and things that we've been doing at the MDDA. So firstly, I will go through some of the events. I might just get Nadine if you could bring up some of those slides for me when you've got a sec. And I can cover off a few of the programs. We've been busy as usual in at the MDDA. We're not in the office again at the moment, as unfortunately Vic's still coming out of our restrictions, but we are still all working from home and working on a number of initiatives. As always, the office is very busy with grant writing, sponsorship writing, working on planning our upcoming events and programs, and doing a lot of advocacy work, as well as welcoming new members into our fold and all of our communications and newsletters that we're doing. We've also got Jo, as many of you know and have met if you've been to one of our recent retreats, as our patient pathways nurse, who's been quite busy lately. Actually, it's been great. She's been working with some genetic counselling students, and together they've been working on our survey, which has been a fantastic initiative. And we've had over 80 actually over 80 respondents to that survey, which is fantastic. So we're really keen to be sharing those results, which we'll be compiling and pulling together to share with you all shortly. And a big thanks to Jo and the students and the whole MDDA, and also, of course, all of you, our members, for responding to that. That information is going to go a long way towards research and helping to determine better care and resources for all of our PKU adults and kids. So Jo has also been busy taking consults with any of our new and existing members. So just a reminder, she is there and available to have a chat. She's fantastic. She'll connect you in with so many different services. You might think you've got this IEM thing under control, but if you haven't had a chat with Jo, maybe just have a chat with her, because she's really good at just pinpointing areas that you might not be tapped into through your clinic, other government grants and resources. So it's a really worthwhile period of time to just book that consult with Jo, and it's all done over the phone, and she'll just make sure you're connected in all the right ways and getting the right support that you need for those services. So that's it probably for our general stuff with the office. We have got some exciting initiatives coming up in the area of advocacy. So as always, we're working behind the scenes. You all saw recently the announcement about KOBY being available for maternal women, and we ran an event here on the hub just recently where we spoke about that, which I'll touch on in a moment. And we've got some further advocacy and a big campaign that we've actually got planned towards the end of this year and next year that will very specifically target access to more treatments and some newer treatments again for adults. So I haven't got a lot to share with you right now, but in the coming months, we'll certainly be gearing up to that, and there'll be a real call to action for the whole community and our adults to get behind that. We've also been doing quite a lot of work on our low pro PAL dietary app, and thank you to a number of volunteers that are now helping us to get the final pieces together for that for a full launch. And I will again have some further information on that shortly. But if I can maybe just touch on some of the events and activities that have been taking place on the hub. So for those of you that haven't been into the hub before, or maybe those of you that are watching this now for the first time on a pre-record, we're trying to run some regular events and activities in here and really broaden our scope to make sure that we've got something for everything. It's just a great thing to do on a weeknight or weekend if you haven't been able to get in live and play back some of the content that we've got prepared for you. So last month we had 2 spotlight series. The first one was with our member Daphne Dukas, who is an MMA mother, and Daphne sheds a really great story about her journey with her son with MMA and a lot of the work that she's doing around clinical trials and advocacy, with a really good education on what MMA is and some of the challenges that come with that, as one of our rarer IEMs. The full recording of that spotlight is on the hub, and so I welcome any of you to go back in at any time. If it's not on the timeline, it will be in the resource section, and you can go back and play that out if you'd like to find out more about Daphne's story. We then had, shortly after that, Anita join us from the Brisbane, the Brisbane Lifespan Clinic, and Anita spoke about our Maternal Women's National Guidelines for sapropterin, which is, as many of us know, Kuvan. And there was some really good detail that she covered there, answering a lot of questions that many of our members had using our Facebook group over the weeks leading up to that. So again, if there are any females in particular that are planning for pregnancy, whether it's in the immediate future or long-term future, this would be a great session for you to have a look at and get an understanding of how now you have access to actually go through the testing process and access to Kuvan during that maternal period. So Anita was very grateful. We were very grateful to have Anita to come and present on that event. We also ran our first Connect groups, which took place here online. We did a new parents group, which was fantastic to have around 8 new parents online. And that was a really good chance from anywhere from, we had our family who had a 1-month-old through to some of those that had 18-month-old babies. And most of them were first-time parents or first-time parents with PKU. I think they were all PKU that we had online for that session. But those groups are going to continue, and they're open for both PKU new parents as well as all IEMs. We had our PKU adults group. We then had a chat room for maternal women and also one for parents of tweens. We'll be continuing those Connect groups, and we'll have more that I'll be announcing for our next month, or this month, that we'll be putting forward. We also have our virtual happy hour, which is coming up again next week. So for those of you that want to come along to that, we're going to start to mix these around a little bit. We are running them usually on a Thursday night once a month, but we are going to start to change those a little bit. So do keep an eye out when they happen. It's just a chance for you to come in and casually meet with the others and have a chat online, bring a bevy of choice, and have some great interaction and chats either in our chat rooms or through our Member Connect lounge. So that next one is 22nd of July, which I think is next Thursday. So on to tonight's event. And I think I've got a few more events actually I need to announce. So I will come back to tonight's event, but we have obviously got Bianca and Chelsea behind the scenes, so I will introduce them in a moment. Just before I do that, we also will have another Spotlight series coming up. The next one is on the 17th of August, and we've got KOBY POOLE, who is a mum of five now, KOBY, and a nurse raising 2 children with tyrosinemia type 1. And KOBY is a long-term member of the MDDA, and she's going to come and share with us her story of having 2 children with tyrosinemia type 1. So I recommend you put that date in your diary and come along and learn all about KOBY's story with her gorgeous kiddies on the 17th of August. We also have some new Connect groups, which will be starting. The next ones, again, will be for new parents. We'll do another adults one, and we'll also have one which will be focused on our other rarer IEMs. So they'll be on August 17, and we'll be sharing more details with you on email and Facebook with that too. I've got 2 more to cover off, and then we're going to get into our event. We will have an Egg Connect forum on the 31st. It's a tentative date at the moment, which will be very specifically targeting adults that are returning to diet or back to diet, or adults in general, PKU adults in general, who may be looking for some inspiration, some science, some support around managing their IEM low protein diet. So we will be announcing a lineup of speakers as well as a panelist of adults for that event shortly. So put that date in your diary, and we'll give you more information soon. Probably one of the more exciting things that we've got on our radar is our Global PKU Patient Conference. So that is taking place in Australian Eastern Standard Time on the Saturday, the 11th of September. So this is actually an event which is being run by the Global Association of PKU, which both Louise and myself are trustees of. And we are hosting the event as MDDA for the entire PKU patient patient population around the world. We've already got around 60 registrations for that, and we've only just gone live with registrations, and we're expecting to get up well into the hundreds, potentially more. And it's really open for PKU patients, adults, families to participate. It's going to have a real scientific slant to it, and it's going to share so much of the great research and information and studies and clinical trials and everything that's happening basically not only in our region but around the world that has to do with PKU, and provide some really good insight and some hope for the future, because there's some fantastic studies that are going on. And so not only will you learn about that, you'll get a better understanding of how that might impact you now and in the future, how you can get involved potentially in some clinical trials. And also above and beyond that, it's a chance to connect with other PKU patients all around the world. So some of you I know have already been doing that on other forums and even face-to-face when we once used to be able to travel and jump on a plane and do those things. So this is really an attempt to connect us all virtually. It's the first time ever, and MDDA is really excited to be hosting it. It will be on a platform very similar to this, and it will be a fantastic event. So Saturday the 11th of September, it will run basically all day on that day in our time, starting with the Americas hosting, moving to Asia Pacific, and then moving on to our European counterparts. So if you ever wanted to attend an ESPKU conference or an MPKUA conference, or if you don't know what words I just said then maybe come along to this conference and find out what I mean, because it's a really good insight into everything happening in PKU in the scientific world. And very finally, I just thought I'd touch on it just to provide a little bit of sunshine and hope and light at the end of the tunnel. We haven't lost sight of getting back face-to-face together when we can. We haven't announced dates yet. We do have it postponed. It still says 2020. It's now going to be 2022. It will likely be in the month of October at that point, but we're just a little reluctant to be securing any dates and contracting right now with the current situation with COVID. But mark my word, we will get there, and it's going to be an absolute pearler when we do. So keep that in mind. And I do look forward to, once we can, these virtual events are fantastic, but we all know, for those of us that have been there before, what it's like to get back face to face. So we'll be sending you more information soon on all of that.